Yo, what's up YouTube? My name's Objective, and in today's video we're going to be talking about, just like in the last video that we did about the evolution of Rick Grimes, the evolution of Daryl Dixon. Now the way we do this is we just compare Daryl Dixon from the first season whenever he was first introduced, and then we go and compare him to the sixth season where he has last been seen. Now just to let you guys know, spoiler alerts all around, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. So when you first see Daryl in the episode Tell It to the Frogs, Daryl looked really mad whenever the scavenging survivors along with Rick return to the campsite without Merle. Daryl becomes extremely upset for Rick handcuffing Merle to the roof and T-Dog who drops the handcuff key. And just from there we can see that Daryl is this angry guy who likes to keep to himself with just him and his brother, and they just join the group to kind of mooch off their supplies and things like that. So we can tell that Daryl is just this solo guy, which you can see by his hunting, how he hunts alone, doesn't want any distractions. He doesn't try to get too emotionally attached to the group, but he'll stand up for himself and his brother if need be. So what really changes this is how he evolves with the group, and in season 2 he appears to be more calm and cooperative when Carol loses Sophia, and he really tracks that entire season. He's kind of tracking down Sophia, trying to find her, and then he seems to be one of the most upset when they actually find Sophia in the barn with all the other walkers. And he really takes this personally because he was the one who actually went out and looked for her, so he would take this extremely hard, and that kind of made him get more attached to Carol and form a little bond and relationship to Carol. Now another thing to note is that Daryl is a ruthless kind of guy, and he was actually the one who interrogated and beat up Randall, who was the prisoner that Rick and Shane had. So we can see that he has that dark side to him where he can do what needs to be done, unlike other people. And you can also see that whenever he has to kill Dale, whenever Dale is attacked by the walker and his stomach is ripped open. So those are some different characteristics that we see in him. And we can also see that ruthlessness in season 3 when he is clearing out the prison with Rick and all the other survivors, and he is really tactical and he's really good at clearing out these walkers in the prison because of how long he's been doing this kind of hunting stuff and how good he is with the crossbow. So one thing that kind of changes his personality within that season is whenever he loses Carol, or so he thinks. That really changes him by giving him a bit of a rough edge to him and gives him a little bit of a soft spot when it comes to Carol, because first he loses Sophia, which was Carol's daughter. He gains the attachment to Carol, and then he loses Carol right after that. So that's another thing that really hurts him, and you can see that throughout the rest of the season. Another thing throughout that season that really puts a damper on him, his personality and all, is whenever the governor kills Merle and you see Daryl finds Merle and he has to kill him himself, and he cries that entire time while he's looking at him while he's a walker. So then in season 4 you really see him evolve into a leadership role in this group, because he is seen with Glenn on a run, and they actually encounter Bob Stuckey, who is with the group for about 2 more seasons, and he's actually the one who asks how many walkers and how many people he has killed. So that's kind of a thing that Rick does. So now to see Daryl do it, you can tell he's evolving into that leadership role. And again we see Daryl, who is still the scavenger and the hunter that he has always been, and you can see that throughout the rest of the series. Another person that you see Daryl get attached to since Carol was gone is Beth, and he is with Beth for the rest of that season, and he's kind of one of the closest people with her. But then at the end of that season you actually see that Beth gets kidnapped, which actually gives Daryl another hardship and just really crushes him, because you know, all these people that he gets attached to, they all just either get killed, go missing, or things like that. And that really shows how Daryl is evolving as a character, and he kind of tries to not make emotional attachments to everyone because of how every time he does, the people get taken away from him and he is crushed. And then in season 5 he actually rediscovers Carol, which kind of brings a light back on his situation, and he kind of attaches himself back to the group since he knows that Carol is back, and then he works with Carol to go try and get Beth back after they figure that out. So his hope is coming back to him, and he's really coming back to the guy that he used to be, the loving and caring guy, rather than the guy who, like in season 1, is kind of separate from the group because he doesn't want to make any emotional attachments because he knows he's going to lose them. So then eventually after Daryl encounters Beth and they actually see her, she actually dies again, or not again, but she actually dies and gets taken away from him again. So that really messes with his head again, but not too much as the first time, because he did get Carol back, and Carol, it seems to be more important to him than her, just because she kind of seems like a love interest a little bit. So then later in season 5, whenever they actually go to Alexandria, Daryl is extremely cautious about all the things in the place and the amenities that is given to him, like the shower and things like that, because he doesn't want to put his guard down because of all this time they spent out in the open where there's none of this and there's a bunch of walkers. So he's always trying to be killed, so he really can't accept this life in Alexandria just like the other survivors. So then you can see again at the end of the season how Daryl is actually coming into a leadership role in Alexandria, because he and Aaron are allowed to go outside the walls and look for more groups, and they actually trust Daryl with this to figure out if these people are trustworthy, which he does with Morgan as he takes Morgan back. So you kind of see all of this grow throughout the 6th season, where he's still in that leadership role and he's he's kind of taking everything into his own hands, and then he actually builds that rivalry with Dwight throughout this season, so I'm hoping to see that evolve within the next season if he is not killed by Negan, which I'm hoping he's not. He's a great character. So that's really how he's evolved so far throughout the series, and I'm eager to know how he evolves throughout the series after this. So if you guys agree with what I've said, or you want to add some more points that I add on to my discussion, please leave that in the comments. Please leave a like, subscribe, and see ya. That is trying to get me to review when I get to the victim, and just in case you guys want to wear spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't been caught up with season 6.